Listen to me. You ain't just here to survive. You're here to dominate. You don't wake up to be average. You don't open your eyes in the morning to just exist. You wake up to win, to conquer, to dominate the day. With purpose, with energy, and with an unstoppable fire inside of you. Every day you get is a gift. Stop treating it like a curse. You got breath in your lungs, strength in your legs, blood in your veins. What are you waiting for? You say, I'm tired. Well, guess what? Everybody's tired. But the difference between successful people and everybody else, they show up tired. They execute tired. They dominate tired. You want your dream? Then make that decision today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when it's comfortable. Now, right now, dominate this moment. You can't change yesterday. You can't predict tomorrow. But you can grab today by the throat and say, oh, this day is mine. When the morning, when the afternoon, when the night. Because you don't get what you wish for. You get what you grind for, and the grind never lies. When you open your eyes in the morning, that's not just another moment. That's your opportunity to start the day on your terms. Most people wake up and drift through their mornings like zombies. They grab their phone, scroll for 30 minutes, stumble into the bathroom, and maybe they figure out what needs to be done halfway through the day. But not you. You're different. You're not average. You don't wake up to be mediocre. You wake up with fire in your chest and intention in your soul. You wake up to dominate, and domination starts with intentionality. Intentionality means you don't let life happen to you. You happen to life. Before your feet hit the floor, your mind is already in motion. You're not asking, what does the day have for me? You're declaring, here's what I have for the day. That difference changes everything. Because people who drift, they get tossed by the winds of circumstance. One negative comment can ruin their mood. One setback can derail their progress. One hard conversation can make them quit. But when you're intentional, your purpose becomes your compass. You don't move based on emotion. You move based on mission. That means you start your day with clarity. Before the noise, before the notifications, before anyone else's opinion touches your ear, you decide who you are, what matters today, and what must get done. Whether it's writing it down, praying on it, or speaking out loud, your day has a plan, a direction, and a target. Why? Because you're not waking up to react. You're waking up to attack. The problem with most people isn't that they don't have dreams. It's that they're not intentional about them. They don't build their day around their purpose. They let life distract them from what they were born to do. No, they get busy being busy and they forget to be great. But you're not gonna waste another sunrise. You're not gonna let the day happen by accident. You're gonna lock in and line up your actions with your goals. And let me be clear, being intentional takes discipline. It's not about how you feel. You're not always going to feel like getting up early. You're not always going to feel like hitting the gym, writing the chapter, making the call, or grinding on your craft. But intentionality says, this isn't about what I feel. This is about what I'm called to do. When you operate with intention, you no longer negotiate with excuses. You don't let the bed convince you to snooze your greatness away. You don't let laziness talk you out of excellence. You don't wait for perfect condition. You show up and you set the conditions. You show up and you set the condition. Intentionality also means you control your atmosphere. If the first thing you hear in the morning is drama, gossip, or negativity, you already started the day losing. That's why intentional people feed their minds first. They listen to something motivational. They read something powerful. They pray, meditate, or reflect before stepping out into the chaos of the world. Why? Because they understand that mindset is everything. If you start the day mentally weak, you'll fold under pressure. But if you start mentally strong, you'll walk through fire and not even smell like smoke. Every champion you admire didn't become great by chance. They crafted their days with ruthless intention. Kobe Bryant didn't wait for practice to get better. He was in the gym hours before anyone else, putting up shots with a purpose. Eric Thomas didn't become the #1 motivational speaker in the world by accident. He built his life on intention, waking up at 3 a.m. every day, preparing messages that would change people's lives. Intentionality isn't a suggestion. It's a necessity if you want to separate yourself from the crowd. So tomorrow when you wake up, don't just roll out of bed, rise with purpose. Don't just hope for a good day, declare it and build it. Don't let your schedule be filled by everyone else's demands. Fill it with your destiny. Choose your attitude. Choose your energy. Choose your focus. Because when you start your day with intentionality, you become unstoppable. This is your life. This is your moment. And this is your day to dominate on purpose. There are going to be mornings when you don't feel it. Days when your body is sore, your mind is cloudy, your spirit is drained. There are going to be moments when motivation is nowhere to be found and everything inside of you screams to slow down, to take it easy, to skip just this one day. But that's the trap. That's the voice of average calling you back to mediocrity. And the truth is, if you're going to dominate the day, not just survive it, not just coast through it, you got to show up regardless of how you feel. Champions don't operate based on emotion. They operate based on commitment. They do what they said they would do long after the mood they said it in has left. The problem with most people is they move only when they're motivated. But motivation is temporary. It fades, it comes and goes. And if your grind is built on how you feel, your consistency will always be shaky. You'll be hot one week and cold the next. But the greats, the ones who dominate year after year, they've learned how to discipline their emotions. They've trained themselves to get up and execute whether they're on fire or running on empty. Because showing up, even when you don't feel like it, is the ultimate sign of mental toughness. It's you telling your body and your feelings, you don't run me, I run you. That kind of mindset separates amateurs from professionals, dabblers from doers, the interested from the committed. Showing up is half the battle, but showing up consistently, regardless of how you feel, is what builds character, habits, and results. There's power in showing up when it's inconvenient. There's growth in showing up when it's painful. You might not be at your best. Even your worst, done with discipline, is more than most people ever bring. Let that sink in. On your off days, when you still deliver, you're building resilience. You're reinforcing that this dream, this goal, this calling, it's not based on mood swings. It's not based on good weather. It's not based on whether you feel inspired. It's based on who you've decided to become. You don't wait for the world to be perfect before you move. You don't need the stars to align. You move because the clock is ticking and the window is closing and life's not waiting on your feelings to catch up. Every time you hit snooze, you delay your growth. Every time you skip the workout, the meeting, the project, you tell your dreams you can wait. But greatness doesn't wait. Success doesn't pause for your emotions. That's why you gotta show up tired, show up stressed, show up when you're doubting yourself and still handle your business. And here's what people don't get. Some of your greatest breakthroughs will come on the days you almost didn't show up. That one more rep you didn't want to do. That meeting you didn't want to attend. That piece of content you almost didn't create. That morning you wanted to quit, but laced up your shoes anyway. That's where strength is built. That's where momentum is born. Because once you realize you can perform without perfect conditions, you become dangerous. You become unstoppable. Look at any top athlete, entrepreneur, or leader. They don't show up just when it's convenient. They show up when they're tired, when they're overwhelmed, when the odds are stacked against them. Because they understand that consistency beats talent when talent doesn't show up. You can be the most talented person in the room, but if you don't bring that talent to the table daily, it doesn't matter. The way you train your body to move, regardless of fatigue, is the same way you train your mind to stay focused, regardless of emotion. Whoa. You develop the muscle of showing up through repetition. You don't wait to feel motivated. You build your schedule and you stick to it. You create non-negotiable. You make commitments you don't break, not even for yourself. Especially not for yourself. Because the person you become by honoring your word, even when it's hard, is the person capable of real greatness. So when the alarm goes off and you don't want to get up anyway. When the day feels overwhelming before it even starts, start anyway. When your body aches, your mind is scattered, and everything in you says quit, lean in, push forward, keep showing up. Because every time you do, you're carving a new version of yourself, a stronger version, a version built on discipline, resilience, and grit. This is how you dominate the day. Not by waiting for motivation, but by bringing grind to every moment, regardless of how you feel. You keep showing up until showing up becomes who you are. Time is the most valuable currency you have. It doesn't matter how rich, talented, or connected you are. Everyone gets the same 24 hours. The question is, what are you doing with yours? If you want to dominate the day, you must take control of every hour like your life depends on it. Because it does. You can't afford to let time slip through your fingers. You can't afford to waste another moment being distracted, uncertain, or passive. Every hour has a price, and you either invest it or waste it. You either use your hours with purpose, or you allow them to be stolen by distraction, laziness, or indecision. Owning every hour starts with understanding that your time is your responsibility. You can't blame anybody else if you're not where you want to be. If you're not progressing, if you're not achieving, if you're not moving forward, look at how you're spending your time. Too many people talk about goals, talk about success, talk about changing their life, but their calendar doesn't match their conversation. You say you want to level up, but you're spending hours scrolling social media, watching shows, getting lost in entertainment. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking and opportunity is passing you by. The most successful people aren't necessarily more talented. They're just more disciplined with their hours. They plan their days. They know what needs to happen, when it needs to happen, when it needs to happen, and why it matters. There's no guessing, no hoping, no drifting. Their time is accounted for because they refuse to waste potential. That's the mindset you need. If it's not scheduled, it doesn't happen. If it's not aligned with your mission, it doesn't give you energy. Think about it like this. Your life is made up of days, and your days are made up of hours. If you waste the hour, you waste the day. And if you waste enough days, you waste your life. That's the truth nobody wants to talk about. You don't lose years all at once. You lose them one wasted hour at a time. That's why you have to be ruthless with your time. Say no to things that don't serve you. Cut out the distractions. Prioritize growth, productivity, purpose. You can't control everything in life, but you can control how you manage your hours. When you own every hour, you eliminate excuses. You can't say, I didn't have time, because the truth is you didn't make time. Time was dead. You just chose to give it to something else. You didn't prioritize the workout. You didn't commit to the reading. You didn't block out time to work on your dream. That's on you. The clock didn't fail you. Your focus did. But the good news, you can change that starting today. You can grab hold of the next hour and do something powerful with it. It all begins with intention. Wake up and don't just ask, what should I do today? Ask, what will move me forward today? Then break your day into chunks. From morning to night, you need to know what each block of time is for. Is this hour for working out, for planning, for creating, for learning, for executing? And once that block is set, you protect it like it's sacred. Because it is. That hour could be the hour that shifts everything for you. And let me be real. Owning every hour doesn't mean working nonstop. It means being intentional with your time. If you're resting, rest with purpose. If you're relaxing, do it to recharge, not to escape. Don't confuse laziness with recovery. Don't call procrastination a taking a break. Even your downtime should be a strategic decision, not a default behavior. Dominate your day by being in control of every phase of it. This level of time ownership requires saying no. You'll have to say no to people, to invitation, to habits that don't align with your future. You'll have to get comfortable disappointing others so you don't disappoint yourself. Not everyone will understand your focus. They won't see the vision you're building hour by hour. That's okay. This isn't about them. This is about you becoming who you were created to be. And that version of you doesn't happen by accident, it happens by design. Once you commit to owning every hour, your life changes. Your days become more productive. Your progress becomes measurable. Your confidence grows because you know you're not wasting time anymore. You're using it with purpose. You begin to stack productive days, one after the other. And that momentum, that's how you dominate not just a day, but your entire future. So stop treating your hours like they're free. Stop acting like time is unlimited. It's not. And the people who win, the people who break generational curses, the people who leave legacies, they all have one thing in common. They don't play with time. They honor it. They own it. They use it. And because of that, time works for them, not against them. Every hour is a seed. Plan wisely. Grind intentionally. Show up with purpose. Own it. All of it. Because that's the only way to truly dominate the day. Every single time you feel resistance, That inner pull telling you to stop, to take it easy, to wait until it's more comfortable. You're staring greatness in the face. Resistance isn't there to hold you back. It's there to reveal who really wants it. It's the filter between the ones who talk about dreams and the ones who are truly about that life. You see, most people treat resistance like a stop sign. But if you want to dominate the day, you need to start treating resistance like a green light. It's not your enemy. It's your invitation to go harder. You want to know why so many people never fulfill their potential? They're because the moment they feel pressure, they back off. The second it gets hard, they slow down. But growth doesn't live in comfort. Progress doesn't live in ease. Everything you're chasing, the success, the impact, the legacy, it lives on the other side of resistance. You'll never get there if you run from the pain. You've got to go through it. You got to push back. You got to develop the mindset that says, when it gets tough, that's my signal to go hard. When you train yourself to push through resistance, you're building something far more valuable than results. You're building resilience. Resilience is the trait that turns average people into champions. It's not just about how hard you can work. It's about how long you can stay in the fight. Resistance is the gym for your mind. It's where your mental muscles get stronger. Every time you push when you don't feel like it, every time you keep going when quitting seems easier, every time you silence the voice of doubt and do the work anyway, you're leveling up. That's what separates the committed from the curious. Anybody can show up when it's easy. Anybody can grind when the sun is shining, everything's going their way, but how do you respond when it's storming? What do you do when you're tired, overwhelmed, and the progress feels invisible? That's the moment that counts. That's where champions are made. You don't need a perfect day to be productive. You need the mindset that says, I don't care what the conditions are, I'm showing up anyway. And don't get it twisted, resistance shows up in different forms. It could be physical fatigue, emotional stress, fear of failure, the temptation of comfort, or the doubt that creeps in when things don't go according to plan. But no matter what form it takes, resistance always carries the same message. Prove how bad you want it. That's why you can't just push once. You gotta keep pushing. You gotta treat resistance like a test, because that's exactly what it is. When the resistance comes, you remind yourself why you started. You remind yourself who you are. You don't fold. You don't retreat. You rise. Because pushing through resistance isn't just about reaching a goal. It's about becoming the kind of person who can't be stopped. You train your mind to respond with courage, not fear, with discipline, not excuses, with grit, not comfort. People always ask, what if I fail? Let me tell you something. The real failure isn't falling short. The real failure is stopping when you have more left in you. The real failure is letting resistance dictate your limits. But if you push through it, even if you stumble, even if you struggle, you're still moving forward. You're still learning. You're still growing. And that's what winning looks like. You won't always feel strong. You won't always feel ready. But you don't need to feel ready to move. You just need to move. Action creates momentum. Once you get moving, that resistance that felt so heavy, it starts to break. It starts to crack. Because resistance only has power when you feed it with fear. But the moment you step into it with faith and discipline, it begins to lose its grip. So when you feel that tension in your chest, when you feel your mind telling you to take the easy route, when everything in you wants to wait or walk away, that's your cue. That's your moment. That's the place where greatness begins. Don't shrink from it. Don't pause. Don't complain. Don't complain. Lean in. Push harder. Lock in. Remind yourself that pressure is the birthplace of power. Diamonds aren't formed in silence. They're formed under pressure. Warriors aren't made in comfort. They're forged in fire. Every day will come with resistance, but every day also comes with a choice. Will you fall or will you fight? Will you give in or will you go all in? Resistance coming either way. You might as well get stronger with it. You might as well grow through it. You might as well use it as the very fuel that sets you apart. If you want to dominate the day, you have to be willing to embrace the hard. You have to love the push, not just the progress. Because once you stop running from resistance and start running through it, there is nothing that can stop you. The truth is, dominating your day isn't just about getting things done. It's about staying laser focused on your mission. It's about knowing exactly why you wake up, why you grind, in what you're chasing. Because if you don't have clarity, you'll drift. You'll get caught up in distraction. You'll lose time on things that don't matter. That's why purpose isn't just a nice idea. It's your anchor. It's the force that keeps you grounded when life starts pulling you in every direction. When you wake up each day with a clear mission, you eliminate confusion. You don't waste time figuring out what to do next. You already know. Every move you make is calculated. Every decision you face runs through the filter of your purpose. Does this get me closer to my goal, or does it take me off course? That level of focus is what separates the average from the elite. Because while others are wandering, hoping something good happens, you're walking with direction, creating the outcome you desire. People who dominate don't let the day happen to them. They attack the day with intention. They don't chase every shiny opportunity. They stay locked in on what aligns with their mission. They don't need validation. They don't need to impress anybody. They're not living for applause. They're living for impact. And when you operate from that space, distractions lose their power. You stop caring about who's watching, who's clapping, or who's criticizing. You stay in your lane and run your race because you know where it's taking you. This kind of focus doesn't come by accident. It's built through discipline. It's waking up and reminding yourself of your why every single morning. It's writing down your goals, reviewing your vision, visualizing your success. It's making purpose-driven planning a non-negotiable part of your life. Without a mission, your motivation will fade. Without a vision, your energy will scatter. That's why every goal, every move, every sacrifice must be tied back to your greater purpose. You gotta protect your mission like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. You're not just living for today. You're building a legacy. You're breaking generational cycles. You're setting a standard for your family, your community, your future. And none of that happens if you allow yourself to be distracted by temporary pleasures or irrelevant noise. Focus also means saying no more than you say yes. It means cutting out things and sometimes people who don't align with where you're going. That's not selfish, that's necessary. Not everyone is supposed to go with you. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Your mission will require sacrifices, and sometimes that means walking away from good things to make room for great ones. It means choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. It means turning down distractions, even when they're wrapped in convenience or excitement. Let's be real. Life is full of noise. Social media, entertainment, other people's expectations. They're all fighting for your attention. But attention is energy, and where your energy goes, your results grow. So if you're serious about dominating your day, you have to take control of your focus. You have to shut out the noise and zero in on what moves the needle. That could mean waking up earlier to plan your day. That could mean journaling your intentions. That could mean creating a routine so tight that nothing slips through the cracks. But no matter how you do it, you've got to get crystal clear about your mission. And that mission needs to be bigger than you. If your only goal is comfort or status or likes, you'll burn out fast. But if your mission is impact, if it's about helping others, building something meaningful, becoming the person you were created to be, then your focus becomes unshakable. You'll push through fatigue. You'll rise above failure. You'll keep moving even when the path gets dark, because you're not driven by feelings. You're driven by purpose. There will be days when doubt creeps in. There will be moments when the finish line feels too far, when progress feels slow, when quitting seems easier. But that's when your mission kicks in. That's when you remember why you started. That's when you choose to refocus instead of retreat. You take a breath, remind yourself of the vision, and you keep moving. That's the kind of clarity that builds unstoppable momentum. You want to dominate the day? Then let your purpose lead. Let your mission be your fuel. Let your focus be your shield. Don't just work hard, work aligned. Don't just stay busy, stay purposeful. And when the world tries to pull you in every direction, stay rooted in your why. Because a person with a mission is more powerful than a person with motivation. And once you lock into your purpose, the world better watch out. Because there's nothing more dangerous than someone who knows exactly where they're going,